All right, here we are with the Elite Tools from the St. Lawrence River. Just fished the Bassmaster Elite Series up there on the St. Lawrence River, and what an absolute slugfest. In 2 days, I caught 41 pounds of bass. 9 of those were brown. I had 1 green fish and had over a 4-pound average. Unbelievable. But yet I ended up finishing in 50th place. A little bit disappointing from that perspective, but man, it's so much fun. I caught a ton of fish the first day, caught a good number of fish the second day. I just needed one more decent fish either day to make the third day, but didn't do it. But caught a bunch of fish. I want to show you exactly what I caught those fish on so you can go up there and know what you're doing when you get up there. The first day, I started out fishing deeper early, and I thought that I could catch a couple real big ones, and man, I caught a couple chips. I caught nothing. So then I picked up and ran shallow, went to an area that I had fished a few years back, and just thought I'd make a pass through there. Well, the first one I threw out there, and I had a bite on my Spin John 80, my Spro Spin John 80 spy bait, spin bait, and it missed it. And I said, man, that was weird. And I looked up and I saw a huge boil like 40 yards away where that fish had thumped that spy bait. And I took and threw the little Ned bomb in there, zinged it out there, threw that Ned bomb out there, and lifted up 5 1/4. First fish of the tournament, 5 1/4. So I put that fish in the boat. That fish was on a cash-in micro jig rod. I had it on the same Tatula spinning reel, and I had the main line was the Sunline X Plasma 12-pound. Got that pretty green on there, and then I had had my leader. I gotta grab my leaders out of here. I keep my leaders in this cool little Sunline bag. But on that little Ned bomb, I had an 8-pound Sunline Sniper leader. That's what I had there. I had that, and got that fish in the boat easily. That little Ned bomb with the Ned ball head. That Ned ball head has a VMC Tech Set hook. It's one of the only non-Gamakatsu hooks that I use. That Tech Set hook in our little Ned ball head is money. That fish jumped like 3, 4, 5 times, and just had no problems with it. And so I proceeded to keep throwing the Spin John. This is matte shad, probably my favorite color. I was alternating between that and the Heron Pink. The Heron Pink's got kind of a bluish back. It's got a silver insert in the inside of it, and then it's got that light pink belly on it. So I was alternating between these 2 colors. I kept 2 on the deck at all times and was just giving them a little bit different looks depending on if I was getting follows or if I was getting bumps and not committing to it. I caught something like 40 fish, and occasionally I would caught a few throwbacks on the Ned bomb. That's actually called purple smoke core, smoke purple core. It's a core shot color. Ooh, that thing is wore out. This one is flat out wore out. And when I throw the spin bait, I don't use the X Plasma. I use the PE8. It's a little finer line. It's not as shock resistant, so like you don't want to be setting the hook. I don't use a drop shot with it, but that Siglon PE8 12-pound. It's 12-pound, but it's a smaller diameter 12-pound. It is unbelievably supple. So you can take that spy bait, spin bait, put it on the cash-in John Cruz spin bait rod. This is like one of the prototypes. It doesn't even have a label on it. It's one of the prototypes, 7.6. Now we've sold a ton of them, and they have the labels on them. But it's a 7.6 spinning rod. It's really long, got a really soft tip. You can throw that little spin bait a mile with that line on it. And then I'm running about a 20 to 22 foot leader of 7-pound Sunline Sniper. That's it right there, 7-pound Sunline Sniper. about a 20 to 22 foot leader of that on there. And I had a great, I didn't lose any good fish. I didn't lose any fish really on the spin bait. They would bump it, but once I hooked up with them, the landing ratio was amazing. That 7.6 allows you to be able to fight those fish, and it can, you know, I mean, they're so strong. Even the 3-pounders are unbelievably strong. They fight. So I was using that spin bait around shallower fishing, probably 4 to about 8 feet of water, somewhere in that range. Fishing points, boulders, any transition type banks, transition type bottom to where you could see light, dark together. Anything that was different. I was throwing that spin bait, that little spin john on those types of places. And like I said, probably caught over 30 fish on that the first day alone. And then the first day I did catch a couple on a chatterbait, a couple of smallmouth on chatterbait, but I really wasn't going heavy on it. And the second day I started out fishing shallow. I said, all right, I'm gonna start shallow on day 2 and see if I can catch a few, and then maybe start bouncing out deep, try to catch a better grade of fish, because it was a bloodbath at the weigh-in. That's not a figurative sense, not a literal sense. It was a million, all the smallmouth went right back into the river. But on days 2, the shallow bite was really slow for the first few hours of the tournament. At 11 o'clock, I only had 3 bass in the live well for about 7 pounds. I caught probably a dozen, but if it was not 2 pounds or better, I didn't put it in the live well. I caught a bunch of 1.5-pounders. It's kind of weird, mostly on the spin bait, and then a few on that, and a few on bomb shot. But I didn't feel like that was the right deal. I moved areas about 10 or 15 miles. The first place I stopped on, there was a little breeze blowing on it. There was a little current going on it. I picked up the 1/2 ounce green pumpkin jackhammer chatterbait, and I had a spunk shad. This is the 4.5, but I was fishing for smallmouth. I had the 3.5 inch on, the little smaller green pumpkin. It's a Hog Farmer spunk shad, the 3.5. Dude, that's a nice little compact package for those smallmouth. That 1/2 ounce, I could throw it 1.75 miles and just burn it. Had it on Sunline Shooter, 18-pound test. You can absolutely lay wood to those fish. And then the rod I was using was one of the, I just got it the other day, and I love it for throwing a chatterbait. It is called it is part of the CK series, and it's a 7-foot 4-inch, and it is the chatter grass rod, I think is what they call that. It's a 7-foot 4-inch. Jody Queen and Corey Dreyer, they are 2 kayak anglers that help Cashin dial this rod in. It's set, like I said, 7-foot 4-inch, perfect bend, great around grass, but just great in open water as well. It's got that perfect bend. It lets them load up on it. You don't lose any fish on this thing. It is wicked, wicked good. And so that's what I was throwing it. My backup was the multi-purpose rod. It's got a similar action, but it's different. I'm gonna try to get a couple more of these here pretty soon. That's what I'm gonna switch to throwing all on the on my chatterbaits on that chattergrass rod. But that's what I was throwing. That was the combo on the chatterbait. The second day, once I picked it up, I caught that 3.5 right off the bat. Next area I went to, I caught a 2.5. Then I caught a 3.5 at the next spot. So I just started bouncing around and ended up culling up to about 17.5 pounds. I caught a bunch of fish that afternoon, and then the little spunk shad that I had on there got tore up. And I said, man, for the last half hour, I'm gonna go to this largemouth area and see if I can catch a good largemouth. And so I grabbed the 4.5 inch spunk shad and put it on there. I think that's just a better package for a largemouth. It's just a little bigger profile. And sure enough, within the first 10 minutes or so, bam, I caught about I would guess about 4 3/4 largemouth. Slung that big boy in the boat, put it out there. It called a 3-something smallmouth. That gave me 19-12 on day 2. I fished for about another 5 minutes, Didn't get another bite, ran in, and ended up 7 ounces short of the day 3 cut. So a little bit frustrating, but man, how much, I mean, in 2 days, I caught over 60 bass, at least 60 bass, and had over a 4-pound average. So a lot of fun up there on the St. Lawrence River. Fished out of Clayton. It is a beautiful, beautiful area. You can drive to Chameau or Henderson Bay, or you can put in there at Clayton, or you can drive up to Alex Bay and put in there, or you can drive up to Ogdensburg and put in there, or stop in Morristown, put in that area. You can fish anywhere on that St. Lawrence River, and it's just fishing really, really good this year. I love that. I love that river. I have not had the greatest track record up there. I've had a couple bombs. I've had a couple okay events, but usually I'm in the middle of the pack. A little bit frustrating, but man, so much fun to go up there to that place. I highly recommend it. Congratulations to Jay Shakurat is his last name. It looks like sauerkraut when I see it. But folks, keep an eye out on him. He is legit. He's the real deal. Very young. He's only 23 years old. First year, he is a rookie. He qualified for the elites his first year on the opens, and he knows what he's doing. The kid he just gets it. He's dialed in. I'm a little bit frightened because now we're going to go to his backyard for the last 2 tournaments. I think he's going to do very, very well, but I tell you what, I have put myself in a deep hole as far as making the Bassmaster Classic goes. Need to get up into the top 40. I'm currently in the low 60s. I need 2 top 10s in order to do that. Mathematically, it will work. I have 2 top 10s. I have done it before. I've had back-to-back top 10s in my career before, and I'm going to try to do it here in the next 2 events. We've got about a month away, but stay tuned. Please watch the inside look where you can see all of the action. All this that I'm telling you about, you can actually see it, all the fish catching action, and there's plenty of it. Have some really fun commentary in there. Please watch out for that. That'll be the next video coming out in about a week or so. So that's called the Inside Look. Please keep an eye on that. And if you're not subscribed, please do that, or like the page, whatever. And if you have any comments or anything else you want to say, please drop it down there. I'll try to respond to you if it is a question. If it's not a question, I'll be curious to see what you have to say. And again, like always, thank you guys for watching.